Hello and welcome to your Nadex economic calendar and preview for the week of August 20th. My name is Jason Paff. I'm an independent analyst and Nadex educator, and it is my privilege to bring you a look ahead at this week's economic highlights across global markets. Let's get started in Germany, where before markets open in the United States, we'll get a look at German Producer Price Index, or PPI, which will give us insight into the Eurozone's largest and perhaps most important economy. The euro slid last week for at least most of the first part of the week before receiving a bounce later in the week against a weaker greenback. To see the trajectory of the euro this week, or at least get a take on that early on in the week, we will take a look at German PPI and see if it is a stronger than expected print, which could certainly further buoy the single currency. Also on Monday, later on Monday, we will head south to Australia, where the Royal Bank of Australia will release meeting minutes from their latest meeting. In addition, Governor Lowe will address markets. Market participants, analysts, insiders, and traders will be watching to see if the RBA is taking a more hawkish tilt, which would mean a rate hike in the near future, or if they're continuing a policy of easy monetary policy and strategy, which would continue to weaken the Aussie versus the greenback. The Aussie has certainly seen its share of weakness lately. It's a currency that's closely linked to China and the yuan. And as China and Asia has experienced some slowdown in trade tensions with the United States, the Aussie has taken it on the chin as well. On Tuesday, oil market participants will take a look at the American Petroleum Institute inventory data, which is always a preview or precursor to the Wednesday release of inventory data from the Energy Information Administration in the United States. Also on Tuesday, a potentially historic day, as that's the day many market watchers are considering the day that equity markets, the S&P 500, and other indices measure a tie, at least, for the longest bull run in history. Tuesday's the day we're supposed to tie, theoretically speaking, without a dramatic free fall in U.S. equity markets. Wednesday would be the day that record is broken. Also on Wednesday, we'll go north of the United States border to Canada, take a look at the health of the Canadian consumer as we get retail sales. Certainly, the CAD, or Canadian dollar, has flown under the radar lately as there's been noise in Asia, emerging markets, Great Britain with Brexit, the euro. Certainly in the United States, there's been a lot going on. Well, the Canadian dollar has been under some pressure as NAFTA, a trade agreement between the United States, Canada, and Mexico, is renegotiated. We'll take a look at the economic impact of that ambiguity and, again, the overall health of the Canadian economy and consumer as we look at retail sales on Wednesday. Home sales in the United States also on the docket for Wednesday, as is the latest round of minutes from the Federal Open Market Committee, or FOMC, which will give market participants a chance to parse the latest language from the Fed in the United States and get a read on the continuation of potential rate hikes in the United States, or if they're taking a pause with all of the noise, friction, and tensions around trade policy. As I said, on Wednesday, we'll also get the latest read on oil inventories from the Energy Information Administration. If you would like to take a position on the direction of oil based on those latest inventory readings and what they may foretell about a bullish or bearish trend in oil, or if you'd like to hedge a position you may currently have in oil markets, a Nadex binary or spread might be a unique and strategic way you could do just that. On Thursday, we will head to Japan and get the latest reading of the economic index. Certainly, the yen has been top of markets' minds lately as the BOJ has at least toyed with the idea of ending some very easy monetary policy and quantitative easing operations where they take positions in the Nikkei, buying equities through ETFs, in addition to yield curve control, where they buy bonds when they reach a certain point in yield. Jobless claims in the United States are also on the docket for Thursday. If you would prefer to take a position on the number itself, you can trade an economic event binary with Nadex rather than trying to guess as to which direction the market may move based on the print. On Friday, we go back to where we started in Germany to get a read on gross domestic product, or GDP, in Germany. Also on Friday, perhaps the main event for the week is not necessarily data-based, but is the annual confab known as Jackson Hole, where the world's economic elite will gather to discuss macro trends, stories, insight, share projections and conjecture about 2019 and beyond in terms of world global markets. Jackson Hole will be closely watched by journalists and market participants to see which way the winds are blowing with respect to global monetary policy. And with that, we will conclude the week and we'll look ahead to next week. And I'll be back with next week's Nadex economic calendar in preview. Until then, again, my name is Jason Path, a Nadex educator. Good luck this week. Happy trading, and we'll see you next week.